Welcome to Find the Connection, the podcast where we explore the history, development, events, and stories that make Northeast Florida so inviting. I'm your host, Kendra Robertson, a real estate professional, community leader, wellness ambassador, and proud resident of Jacksonville Beach for over 30 years. In each episode, we'll dive into the stories of the people that are making a difference, both at a local level and nationally. We'll share an inside look at real estate with tips for maintaining work-life balance, from winning your mornings to winning your day, all while staying connected with our vibrant local community. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's find the connection between community and living your best life. Today, in my theme of real estate, community, and wellness, we are focusing or exploring the Keller Williams Wellness Community. I was first introduced to this community by my business coach, Kimberly Guiry, who saw a need to create some type of wellness plan, and it resulted in this KW Wellness. The wellness community powers many subgroups. There's an ADHD group, a clarity group, golf, fit, or KW Fit, KW Pickleball, yoga. There's several communities now, but one of the original communities that kicked off the KW Wellness was the KW Clarity, and I have the founder and community leader of KW Clarity, Shelly Seidemann, who is a solo agent with Keller Williams in Connecticut. So thank you, Shelly, for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
We've talked about the one thing that's unique about Keller Williams, that the focus is on mindset and factors beyond just selling real estate. I know my market center starts our meetings with the mission statement of to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, legacies worth leaving. Can you speak to why KW Clarity, KW Wellness is aligned with our mission?
Absolutely. It became very clear to me when I had introduced this idea to KWRI, the corporate office, that a community like this, the environment at KW was just begging for something like this. KW is all about, it's not about the money, it's not about selling houses, it's all about how we can be the best we can be, how we can continue to improve, how we can help those around us improve so that we can in turn serve our community better. Recovery, for those of us who are in recovery, we know it takes up all of our life. It is our number one priority. So part of improving for the sake of being able to serve in our world has everything to do with our recovery, staying connected with people who are going through this too. So it's very much in line with what KW is trying to do, because, our leaders at KW understand that if you want to go out and sell a lot of houses, you have to first look inside and see, where can I improve? Where can I be better? How can I better help those around me? That's the focus. It's not about how can I beat out the competition. So it was really a perfect recipe to bring this community to the KW world.
Yeah, when I gave up drinking, I had gone to one of the conferences and listened to all these high-producing agents, and one of the things that was very much in common was that they were winning their morning. And when I gave up drinking, I was able to regulate my circadian rhythm, go to bed similar time, get up similar time, and that I swim in the ocean every morning. So yeah, winning my morning, like emotionally, spiritually, physically, really sets me up for the work day for sure. So how did you pull this off? How did you make KW Clarity happen?
So it really starts with why I decided to get sober and what happened shortly after that. I had started as a team manager for a team in the area. I outgrew that role, was ready for the next challenge, so I decided to get licensed. And right before I switched to going full production, I just found myself full of anxiety, depression even. I didn't know what was going on. I knew how I had gotten through those moments in the past. I had gone to a therapist. So I found a therapist. At the time, I didn't realize the therapist I picked was a drug and alcohol abuse specialist. Cool. And I told her what was going on. One of the first questions she asked me was, "How's your drinking?" And I remember being like, well, my drinking now is no different than the people in my world, especially in the real estate world. There's a lot of substance abuse and, just heavy usage, even if it's not substance abuse. So I was really thrown aback by that question. She basically told me, in short, if you keep up drinking like this, you're going to be dead by age 40. And that smacked me right in the face. So I started toying with this idea of getting sober. I'd given it a shot for a few months. And I had hit a stride at one point where I said, I really want to do this. I went 4 months without drinking. And I attended my first family reunion since I had gotten sober.
Now we're talking the Keller Williams family reunion, which is our big conference where about 18,000 Keller Williams people gather?
Sometimes more, yeah. And whether it's a Keller Williams event or any other real estate conference or any other work conference, those are known to be hotbeds for drinking and partying. So it was a very uncomfortable experience the first time without drinking. I thought, is this my life now? Is it going to be boring? I didn't feel comfortable in my skin. I didn't know how to network with other agents to help each other grow because I didn't even know who I was anymore, really. And it was in that discomfort that I realized, wait a minute, I'm at the largest real estate company in the world. If I can't find at least one other person who's going through this too, I am not looking hard enough. So, I'm still amazed that it happened so early in my recovery. I think I was on some type of pink cloud, but I just decided there is a need for this community and it's up to me to make it. So as soon as I got home, within a few days of the conference, I sent out an email to over 700 team leaders across the US. Wow. And I basically said, we have this Facebook group, but I'm looking for my people and I need your help. Really had no idea what it would grow into, but I felt such a pull to it that I said, I can't ignore this. I need to take action. We brought it to the corporate office, and most of the communities at the time had been about serving a specific niche, building skills around that niche. This was really the first time that anything like this had been introduced. And they said, this doesn't really fit what we have, but we're going to make a space for it because this is really important and it's something that impacts agents, whether directly or indirectly.
That's what's so amazing that because of you, we have this community. Was it around the same time that Kimberly was considering the wellness? How did you guys collaborate?
So it worked out perfectly. From what I recall, they had told me wellness had been around for a while, but for the longest time, I think it was just a website with some health insurance options and maybe some tips on how to maintain your health in all forms. And they had told me, we have this that's launching too. There might be a way for you guys to join forces and really come at this strong. And Kimberly couldn't have been a better choice to run that community. She is such a strong advocate for us, and she's helped us since day one to, make this fit really smoothly within the KW ecosystem.
Well, and it's just really taken off. I think between KW Clarity and the ADHD, which Tyler runs and does such a fabulous job, it's just morphed into what we're passionate about and how we can connect with other agents, within that passion.
Absolutely. I think our leaders at Keller Williams realized there are so many other areas where we could be supporting our agents. It's not one size fits all for support. There's an opportunity here to cater to these different groups so that we can make this the best place for agents to grow, thrive, succeed in their personal lives and in their professional lives.
Yeah, it was a game changer for me coming to Mega Camp and discovering your community. And I think I'd connected prior. I think my first family reunion, I really didn't connect with your group. And then 6 months later at Mega Camp, I had connected and gotten to know you guys, or people that were in the group, and just having the online calls. Of course, COVID kind of just really took online communities to a different level. So getting to know agents from all over the United States, internationally. But I remember my first Mega Camp and just the sense of peace of all, like, you guys had a stand, kind of in the exhibit hall, just trying to get the word out, and that little table became my home base. It was always, someone there to go to lunch with, go to dinner with, that kind of thing. It really made that, like you said, a very alcohol-centric community. It made finding my people that weren't drinking made it such a great experience. And now, ever since, I just can't get enough of you guys.
The feeling's mutual. And I was shocked to discover how many agents avoid these career building opportunities because it's so substance heavy. There were many agents that I spoke to that said, I always passed on those events. Why would I go to those, at the temptation there? And for the first time, we had agents saying, wow, I could really come here and I could have my people and I could feel like I could get through it without picking up a drink. And that's a big deal. Why should our community have to miss out on these wonderful opportunities for growth just because of a really great lifestyle choice or, matter of survival choice that they made?
Right. Well, and I think that there's such a sober, curious movement out there that even agents that don't necessarily feel like they're in recovery, but they're exploring, giving up the alcohol or whatever, they're trying to give up. And I think you've created a great space for that mentality too. I met an agent, I guess it was maybe his family reunion, and he was just exploring, and now he's over 100 days. A year later, he's finally taken that switch. And I think having support was huge for him, and not you're not in recovery, don't come. It was like, no, we're welcoming all mindsets.
Absolutely. By recovering out loud, we want to do two main things. We want to first, really three things. We want to first let our leaders know, hey, we're here. We want to be a part of the conversation. We want to be considered when you're planning things, just to be mindful of the fact that there are people who don't drink or are triggered by it. We also want to extend a hand to those who need our help. When we recover loudly, we keep others from dying quietly. And finally, we want to take the stigma out of this. Being sober, whether it's by function of an addiction or not, it's a really great thing. And I've noticed since Clarity began that people are so proud of their recovery now. And I don't know if it's that I've surrounded myself more with these people, but I've had a few people say, I used to never share this part of my life, and now I do, and I love it, and I'm celebrated for it. That's a really big deal, because for the longest time, not drinking was very hush-hush thing. Alcohol is the one drug that you have to explain why you're not using it, basically, which is just it's crazy, but that's the world we live in.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I think when I first gave it up, I wasn't sure I was giving it up for good, kind of thing. And now I'm over 3.5 years, and I'm definitely not going back. And I have been a little more, I'm sharing it more. And I actually, now that I am a Keller Williams Wellness Ambassador, and I guess I should back up. So I went to Mega Camp last year, and I had been very involved in the KW Clarity group. And I had just gone to a retreat with a bunch of women that didn't drink. And I got to Mega Camp in San Antonio, and I told Kimberly, I said, I don't know if sobriety is my story. I think wellness is my story. And that was a big aha, in the sense that, I was hit by a drunk driver, and I had a whiplash-induced headache for a year, and that was really where my downfall began. And so I've just come out of a very unhealthy decade after figuring this all out. I've had health issues, autoimmune disease, thyroid, hit menopause, all that kind of stuff. So yes, I am feeling so much better. So in being that ambassador, I have started to share my story locally, like in my own market center, in the market centers throughout the greater Jacksonville area, and just trying to kind of spread the story. So it's made it easier, I think, to share, to be fine with telling my story. And I have found some clients reaching out to me, and and even like when I've shared at offices in my area, I would say I average like 2 to 4 people that either pull me aside afterwards or email me later. And it's not always their problem. Sometimes it's their husband, sometimes it's their wife, sometimes it's a family member. And I love that the KW Clarity really supports all of that,
Absolutely. It is a family disease. And it's really remarkable to me how at our company, we have the opportunity to decide or to really discover, who am I? Where do I want to get involved? Where do I want to plug in? So even though you decided wellness is my story, you're still an active member of Clarity, which is really cool because there's so many things that make up a person, and these different communities that allow us to really channel that. Authenticity, I would say, is very much celebrated at our company. This idea that don't make yourself into someone that you think the client wants. Who are you? Put that out to the world, and you're going to attract the people that you're most qualified to help, which is awesome.
And I think giving up alcohol became a journey to find my authentic self. It really did. I mean, I think that was the beginning of really exploring and finding my voice again. I was a busy mom, running kids around, and now I'm single, empty nest. I have time to focus on me. I say that this chapter in my life is called My Turn.
Absolutely. It reminds me, at Keller Williams, there's a interview process called the career visioning process. And it reminds me of that because career visioning is not about how are you going to find the best employee to fit on your team or the best team member to be a part of your group. It's really helping the candidate discover who they are and if they can see themselves achieving their dreams within your long-term vision. And that, to me, what this company upholds, really is it's so much more than just selling homes or beating out the competition. It's about the deep stuff and how we can really self-actualize on our career path in our time in this company and beyond.
So when I first came on with Keller Williams, I really was attracted to the technology side of it, and I was very much learning based. In fact, I think my second or third year at the annual awards, I was awarded the most engaged. And I'm like, I'm not even dating. What does that mean? But I had shown up at every training session trying to learn as much as I could. And I think also at a certain point, I outgrew what my market center was offering. And then I really started diving into the national level. And of course, being in the MAPS coaching program, it exposed me to other masterminds. And again, even just this week alone, there's so many calls that I can jump on that can help me master whatever skill. It's definitely amazing, the opportunity. So I have talked to my market center leader, and I said, he's starting to do really great things, and I'm like, I need to start showing up and experience that culture, because I feel like I've kind of focused on the national connection. But with all those online masterminds and calls, and then you meet people in person, I just think it takes the referral process to on steroids, And you have been really good on just the referral side of following up, sending a card, what's your trick to that?
So I'll say it's not perfect. I love hearing that because I've been super insecure about how it's been looking. But I will say the focus for me is fostering a relationship. That will always be number one. I've never been a surface level networker. I just can't do it. It makes my skin crawl. So for me, it was really important to find people that I aligned with. And the level that I'm trying to take it now is systematically nurturing that relationship. But the relationship is always at the forefront. It's not the referrals. It's about truly caring about another person. And what you had said about creating these connections virtually, a lot of the friendships I made were first virtual. And then you come to these events and you already have a best friend. It's so exciting. But to me, that's another reason why these communities are so important. I don't want to surround myself with people who don't align with me. Alignment is so important, especially in this stage of my life. So that's why being authentic is important, because I know I'm going to find my people if I'm true to who I am. And that's really all I do. There's definitely a component of creativity. I do like to think of myself as a creative person, but it's really just, what are some ways that I can either brighten someone's day or stand out or be memorable or connect with someone that a lot of people aren't doing. It's been really one of the more fun parts of building these connections is getting to figure out the how I connect.
It is. I was feeling a little less confident in my abilities, and I reached out to Bill DeVore like 2 weeks ago. I'm just like, you're crushing it. I love what you're doing, and we had like a good 30-minute conversation, and it was just so nice to be able to reach out to someone that could relate. What is his slogan? I sell houses for a living. I change lives. I forget.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'm going to be thinking about it all day until I figure it out. He's been a wonderful inspiration to me too. And that's the beauty of our company and these sub-communities is there's a culture of there's enough to go around, and we want to help all of us, each other, get there. There's never someone that I don't feel like I can call to either vent or ask for suggestions. It's a really collaborative approach to this industry.
Well, and I think when I first started trying to figure out the whole referral process, I didn't really get it. I'm like, oh yeah, that agent's in Connecticut, that agent's in North Carolina. But when I started to see the real benefit of making these connections, so my daughter Sabrina's in the Coast Guard, and she's got friends that are in the Coast Guard that are all over the United States. And actually, one friend she met in flight school in the Navy. But to be able to, like when her friends are ready to buy a house, wherever they are, to be able to have someone find an agent that's done VA loans, that knows the area, and they have a great experience, that just makes me feel so good versus them just randomly finding someone online that doesn't really know how to help. And I think that was the first real learning lesson for me of these connections are important because I can help people wherever I am, whether it's in the great Northeast Florida area or beyond. And even just reach out and say, hey, who do you know in Colorado, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's been amazing. It really has.
And it's really cool, a second part of these communities that's awesome is that there are a lot of people in my world who are sober, and they might really benefit from working with someone who's on the same path as them. Same thing, I'm Jewish, I'm in a Jewish community. It's the same concept that we have the opportunity, not just in the type of purchase, whether it's, VA, first-time buyers, we have an opportunity to find the perfect fit for the people we care about. And that's worldwide too, it's something that most companies don't have.
Yeah. It is really neat when we go to the mega camps and the family reunions to meet people that are international, overseas, and it's such a great company. So career visioning, did you use that when you decided to leave your team and go out as a solo agent?
That's an interesting question. So I was hired through career visioning. It was a very rigorous process, but I'm so grateful I went through it. I did not go through it before I'd made the transition to production. I had consulted in coaches and, people that I had been working with since I started, and I just felt like I outgrew the role. It's funny because when I first got into the role, I laughed at agents and I said, I will never be 100% commission. That's crazy. It sounds miserable. It's hard not to want to give it a shot when you see the energy that people bring at our company, though.
Yeah, I think when I first got my license, I was so intent on, I need to make this work, I need to make this work, I need to make this work. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And I hit a wall, a burnout wall, and it took me a while to discover it. And it was about the time that Kimberly and you were creating these communities. And it took me a while to identify it. And then when I started having some transactions that were very meaningful, like connecting with them, I had the resources to help them. I was like, okay, I'm good at what I do. I am connecting with these people for a reason. I have the resources to help them. And it made me realize, okay, I may not be the one like, hey, calling 100 calls a day, but I am service oriented. I know you're service oriented. Just making that experience the best that it can be,
Absolutely. And, there's no shortage of resources at our company. I appreciate you saying that you hit a wall because I think a lot of agents experience that. In our industry, though, it's all about, put your best look forward. Make sure that you always look like you're succeeding and you're just having a great time. And I've noticed in the last few years that our company has shifted that, especially with the shifting market and everything that's going on in the world. And they almost gave us the permission to not be okay and to work through that. Whether it's a function of recovery or wellness, that became the focus because they realized, it's a tough time for everyone. If people are not feeling good inside, they're not going to see the success outside that they want. So it's not a matter of, can I do this? It's just a matter of what resources are going to help me get out of this funk.
Right. Well, so there's Gary Keller's top 100 So they were surveyed on what they wanted for family reunion, what kind of speakers and that kind of thing. So we had Mel Robbins last February, and I love Mel Robbins, and I had actually been at a friend's lake house in January, and family reunion was in February. So in January, I'd met with a bunch of girlfriends at a lake house for a weekend, and we did Mel Robbins' whole year plan, make 2024 your best year yet. And she really brought mental health to the conversation. Here Keller Williams is creating wellness communities, and then they're bringing a guest speaker, a keynote speaker, that's talking about mental health. And, her book is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. And what was really cute was I was sitting with another Clarity member outside of a restaurant, kind of in the casino area, and an agent from Pensacola saw us, and we didn't see her, we were just so busy talking, but she saw us and she passed by and she was like, I should stop and say hello, I should stop. And she was like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And she turned around and she came and introduced herself, and I was so tickled, to see something so simple, translate to connecting.
Absolutely. And I think there's the space at our company to be vulnerable and to say, oh, I really got nervous by that, or I really had a hard time picking up the phone and doing my calls. We have what's called, ironically, the drunk monkey that talks in our ear and tells us, oh, you shouldn't call, or you're going to sound stupid, or they're going to be mad at you for calling. And we talk about that openly because I think our leaders understand the roadblocks are more than just, the objections they get. A lot of the roadblocks are self-imposed, or there's stuff that are going on in our lives. So, any good coach knows that when you didn't hit your numbers, the questions to ask are, okay, well, what happened? What's going on in your world? Because how you show up to this career is greatly impacted by what happens after hours too.
So true. So true. Yeah. Again, my circadian rhythm, I was out to dinner with friends last night and a friend was really complimenting me, just like, you're such a badass, like in that ocean every morning. And I kind of said, for so long, my body clock was so off. I worked at a restaurant for 10 years. Those were late nights. I was pregnant and had 2 children while I was working at that restaurant, went on to have a third. And you're just so busy that putting your body or yourself on the back burner kind of thing, it feels so good to just have a circadian rhythm that feels good. And it does. It makes a huge difference in my attitude, in my focus, surrounding myself with people that are of the same mindset. Yeah, it's definitely awesome.
It's crazy to think that in such a stressful career as a real estate career, when I tell people I love this job and I love this company because the life lessons I've learned have been so valuable. I've had to learn how to have balance, how to have a morning routine, how to take care of myself, because I've seen what happens if I don't. Many of the most successful agents that I've spoken to, one thing they have in common is that, their well-being, it really comes first. If they're in recovery, their recovery comes first because they understand if I don't put my recovery first, everything else will come last. Those in recovery attribute their success to their commitment to recovery. They so go hand in hand. I wouldn't have learned that had I not been surrounded by people who were doing it at a really high level.
Well, is there anything else that we haven't talked about that?
I would say, as with anything, I think in this career, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So these opportunities, these resources, these communities exist. You have to tap into them to get the benefits, though. That's not to say that everybody's going to be a good fit for this company or the community, but give it a shot. You'd be surprised at the wonderful people that you meet along the way, the people that you could help each other grow and reach new heights.
Very well said. Very well said. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And yeah, I can't wait to see you again in February.
I can't wait.
Family
Thank
reunion.
you.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for starting the community, having the energy to do it, to maintain it, and just the love that you radiate to all of us. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you and continue to know you better. So
Thank you. Same goes for you. Seriously. Thank you for the opportunity. You're so appreciated.
thank you.
Thanks for listening to Find the Connection. I hope today's episode gave you some helpful insights and inspired you to get involved in your community. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave a review. It helps others find us. And if you're interested in making a move or learning more about Northeast Florida, reach out to me anytime. Let's keep finding the connection together. Until next time, stay connected and keep thriving.